as Jai Jagannath, Radhe Radhe. We'll try to go on with Gita, because my eyesight is also getting worse with age. I hope I'm able to read properly. Okay, so Krishna, we were in chapter 3, verse 8. You should perform the dutiful actions because action is better than non-action. Without performing one's duties, it is even impossible to maintain the body. That is the vehicle of the self. So in these coming verses, Krishna is going to explain what is the meaning of yajna. Yajna as the dutiful action that is performed in worship of the Supreme as a service to the universal community and as a devotional offering. So this is a very interesting thing because many people think that the sannyasi is not doing, he has no duty, so he just has, is entitled to be maintained by others without doing anything to earn his livelihood, but this is not a fact. Krishna said the real sannyasi is not one who doesn't light the fire. It's one who works in a selfless way. So we go, as usual, you can stop me anytime, just switch on the microphone and speak up. Okay.
Sure.
So we have 3:9, chapter 3, verse 9, which is quite a famous verse. Yagyartat karmano anyatra lokayam karma bandhana tadartham karma kumtaya mukta sangha samachara. Actions must be performed as sacrifice, yajna, or for the purpose of yajna. Yajna is also one of the names of Vishnu, which means that Vishnu is the personification of the sacred action. So every time we perform a sacred action, we are directly in contact with Vishnu. So, the translation is, actions must be performed as sacrifice, otherwise in this world they cause bondage and further actions, which is the translation of karma bandhana, bondage to karma. Therefore, O son of Kunti, you should perform your activities for that purpose of sacrifice, remaining free from material association. Association Mukta Sangha. Mukta Sangha means free from association, and also the association of those who are liberated, the Jivan Muktas, or the Muktas, so those who are liberated. We should stay in the association of people who are on the appropriate level of consciousness. We should avoid the association, the contacts with people who will bring our mind down, our consciousness, pollute our consciousness. We have verse 10. The Prajapati originally manifested the Prajas together with the Yajna and said, by these sacred actions you will become more and more prosperous. These sacred actions will supply you with whatever you desire. So the Prajapati here, of course, is Prajapati Brahma, who is the architect, the constructor, the builder of this particular universe. And he manifests, he builds the bodies of the creatures and gives the gives form, gives visibility to Vedic knowledge, to the instruction, and specifically to the various forms of yajna. Now, the fact that the yagyas will give prosperity and everything we desire is because they because yagya also includes our professional, social, familiar activities, our duties towards family, society, and the universal community, in which every individual is working for the benefit of everyone. When in society everyone is working for the benefit of everyone, everyone gets all the good things without making any extra effort, any separate effort. Because we desire mostly the greatest satisfaction that we can find, as you probably have experienced, is from the awareness of a job well done. So when you've done a good job, you feel very satisfied. When you do some very good service, you make someone happy, someone in your family, you give some good food or some good gift, some good present to someone in your family, they're happy and you feel more satisfied than them. Because our nature is to serve. Our nature is to work for the benefit of the body. The complete body, the complete social body, the complete body of the Virat Purush. So we have the Purusha Sukta that is expressing exactly this point. Purusha Sukta is a Vedic hymn that is supposed to be recited or chanted in all the Karma Kanda ceremonies, rituals. Unfortunately, people don't know what they're talking about, so we are in trouble. So, we go on. 11. The devas will be pleased, fed by you through these sacred actions. And they, the devas, will bless, feed you in return. In this way, both sides will reciprocate in a positive way, and you all will attain the highest benefit. So the Karma Kanda system is basically the Vedic system is basically all the religious duties of each Varna. So the Shudras only have the religious duty to assist the other Varnas. They get the blessings from the Devas by doing their own humble work, carrying the stuff, cleaning up, doing these things. These are also important parts of the yajna. While the Vaishyas are celebrating the Homa and once upon a time also the Soma Yagyas as ritual ceremonies, but a big part of their religious duties is also performing their professional duties, professional activities. And so on, the Kshatriyas even more, and the Brahmanas even more. The duties of the Brahmanas are 3 into 2, in the sense that three duties are performed in both directions. In the sense that the Brahmanas need to study, learn, and teach. That is the duty. They have the duty to receive donations and distribute donation or charity, and to perform purification rituals for themselves and for everyone else. So it is duty towards themselves, their own position, their own function towards themselves, and also towards the others. So in this way, every component, every member of the Varnashrama system, the Varna system, is contacting, is in direct, close contact with the devas, because through the Homa and the Soma, they are associating directly with the devas. They're, sitting every day at lunch with the devas. They have every day the devas coming to their home for lunch, for eating, for breakfast. So this is a very important way to establish a direct personal relationship. So Krishna is saying, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. When someone has been associating with the devas, in a sense, Mukta Sangha, because the devas are not in their capacity of representatives of God, they are liberated. They're not bound by material considerations. So by associating with the devas, one will eventually attain the devas, go and stay with the devas, and even higher, because Yanti Yajinopimam. Those who worship Krishna, who meditate on Krishna, Bhagavan, we go there, we'll attain that position. So everybody is happy. Now the point is, many people are wondering, are asking, why God made this world so imperfect, so full of suffering and temporary dukkhalayam sasvatam, or made people so imperfect that they keep making mistakes, and there is so much violence and tamas and everything, adharma and everything. So the point is that it's a school, the world is a school where we learn to cooperate with the devas in supporting the good functioning of the universe, supporting dharma. Dharma is what supports. Dhar means to support. Dharma is what supports the universe, supports us individually, and us as collectively, and us as the entire universal community. So we support the Vedas, and the Vedas support us, the Devas. Of course, it's something that each person, each human being needs to do in their own way. It must be personalized. It cannot be the same for everyone. This is a difference in Hinduism compared, for example, to other religions. So it's a very personalized, very free, very accommodating, and wide, open-minded system. Now, it depends on the situations as well. So we also have to consider Desha Kalapatra, place, time, and person, individual, who's doing the choices. So many people are confused because they think that Hinduism has so many gods. So sometimes, of course, people are asking, does a Hindu have to worship all those gods? How is this working? No, it's not necessary. Only those who want to have the role in society that is described especially as brahmanas and partially as kshatriyas and partially as vaishyas should engage directly in the worship of the devas, associating with the devas, because that is a quite a difficult, complicated way of interacting with the administration of the universe. We can say, we can compare the devas to government officials. Now, the ordinary person doesn't have much knowledge about the government regulations, the laws, the forms, and the procedures, and everything. So this is why the Brahmana is like a lawyer. The Brahmana has the duty to help the people connect with the devas in the correct manner. So this is the idea. Okay. So until now everything is clear, huh?
Everything is clear. I have two questions.
Fantastic.
Like one is partially like you answered in this last part, but I'll ask it again. So when like first question before that,
Yeah.
everybody is doing their own duty,
Yeah.
but they are not doing yajna, right? So how it's
That is
different?
yagya as well. Even just the duty, the social duty, the family duty is also yagya.
So is it that somebody has to be consciously doing that I am doing yajna, then only it would be yajna, or if unconsciously also if you are doing it, you are participating in yajna? How that is?
Yeah, it is a yagya anyway, but it has different power. The more conscious you are, the more powerful is the effect. Like, for example, there is a very interesting expression in Sanskrit that is agyata sukriti. Agyata means non-conscious, non-aware, non-deliberate, something that we don't know, we don't recognize. Sukriti means good action. So there are lots of examples. For example, in the Bhakti tradition, the yoga tradition, especially in the Bhakti tradition, we see, for example, in the Puranas and the Itihasas, people who did something good without even realizing what they were doing. But still they got, big blessings. We see, for example, the famous story of Ajamil. Ajamil called out to Narayan. He didn't intend to call God, he just wanted to call his son, But still, because he called God's name, in the Agyata Sukriti, he got the protection of the Vishnudutas. That doesn't mean that he had a free ticket to Vaikuntha, but he got a lot of benefit, because otherwise the Yamadutas were there, ready. In the same way, we have, for example, I remember the story of a hunter, who was in the forest hunting. A hunter is hunting. So in the forest, and it was the Shivaratri day, before the Jagran. So, he lost his way, and he was lost in the forest. He didn't remember which way to go. So he decided to spend the night on a tree. And, by chance, we can say, maybe not so by chance, because all is coming through karma, but he saw a big bilva tree, and he climbed on the tree, and by chance, by combination, under that tree there was a Shiva lingam that had been installed there under the bilva tree. He didn't know it. He didn't know it was a bilva tree. He didn't know there was a Shiva linga there. But he climbed up to the bilva tree, and while he was moving, tossing and turning, he was causing a lot of leaves to fall. So, but because he was very hungry and thirsty, but he didn't have the courage to go anywhere to try to find some food, because it was a forest in the middle of the night and lots of bad predators are around. It's very dangerous. So he stayed on the tree all night and he couldn't sleep all night. And he was tossing and turning and moving around, and all these bilva leaves were falling on Mahadev. So this is the best example of Agyata Sukriti. Because in the end of the night, his Sukriti, his Punya, had reached the point that he got, he became enlightened, he got blessed by Mahadev, and he realized that, the life that he was leading was not a good life. So he changed his life. And from there, of course, he became, a sadhaka, a sadhu, and so on. So, even if we don't know exactly what we're doing, but because we are doing it sincerely and humbly, without, calculation of ahankara and mamatva, we just do it sincerely, normally, humbly. This is giving us a good result, a sukriti, punya. So, if we do our duty nicely, sincerely, we work sincerely for the benefit of society, of benefit of the family, but as large as possible. Because if you work for the benefit of your family, but you maintain your family by harming society or other beings, it's not going to be the same good result that you can get by working sincerely to benefit your family and all the beings, and the whole society, all the Bhutanam, the Bhutani, all the beings, and the planet and everyone, because you are serving the collective. You're serving the Virat Purush, the Supreme Purush. So you see, even if you don't really know, there is a benefit. If you know, even more. Is that answering your question?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay. Second question.
Second question, like when we do direct yagya in form of homa,
Yeah.
we invite different deities, right? Indra,
Yeah.
Agni, all those. But when we do these kind of doing our duties, so that is indirectly, right? So in that case,
It's
we
a
don't invite
different.
individual.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But still, we are inviting in the sense that Agni is invited every time we use the fire. Indra is invited every time we distribute to society, because Indra is the principle of distributing prosperity, the falling rain. So when you are doing charity to the general people who need, charity like prasadam distribution, food, vegetarian food distribution, you are calling Indra, because you are working through the Indra principle. You understand? Of course, if you have a direct meditation on these ontological principles by calling the person Indra, the person Agni, in your ritual, and offering them the ahuti and everything, of course, this is a stronger meditation, because it's more conscious, it's more aware. You call that Indra, Indraya Swaha. You actually pronounce the name of Indra, but in an indirect manner, as I said before, because Indra is an ontological principle. It's that aspect of God that takes care of the prajas. So, because that's why he is the king, because he takes care of the prajas. and all the beings are Indra's prajas. So when you work through the Indra principle, you are actually serving Indra. Indra is pleased. You understand?
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
this is why people who don't have a proper realization are confused by the by Vedic literature. For example, the biggest example is all these colonial Indologists who commented on the various yagyas called Ashwamedha, Gomedha, and everything. They made a big mess, a royal mess, because they compared it to the sacrifice in the animal sacrifice in the Abrahamic tradition. So actually, Yahweh in the Abrahamic tradition requires blood sacrifices because he eats the blood. So much that in Jerusalem, around the times of Jesus, when the second temple was functioning, before it was destroyed by Rome, the chronicles, the writings of Josephus, for example. Josephus is the greatest literary and historical authority about Israel in those times, because he lived in those times. He wrote a lot of books, especially the big book, regarding the campaign of the Roman Empire in Jerusalem and Israel. So Josephus writes that in one day, I don't remember how many millions of animals were killed and slaughtered in the temple. One temple. And he was writing that the priests were wading into the blood up to their knees. So, let me find out, because Jerusalem. I saved the reference. Okay. The coming temple. Okay, this is tracking from the States. Because here it is. 1.2 million animals slaughtered in one day. One temple. So, from this idea, of course, when they read the Ashwamedha Yagya, they think, okay, they're going to get a horse, do a number of things to the horse, and then kill the horse. But then we have the Upanishad saying that the sacrificial animal is the universe, is the Purusha. Is a Viratrupa. So how you can understand that the sacrificial animal is the Virat Purusha, is the universe itself, it's God himself. This is the problem, because we need to understand the Vedic knowledge much better than what is done today. So, this is the idea. Okay. Does that answer?
Yes.
Okay. Any other question for now?
No.
So we continue. So verse 12. Satisfied by yajna, the sacred action, the devas will give you whatever pleasures you desire. Of course, within sattva, okay? We are not talking about, asuric stuff. One who eats what is given by them without offering anything in return is just a thief. Or we can say a parasite. Let's see if a parasite is the same. Okay, we have 13. The good people who subsist on the leftovers from the sacrifice or sacred action are liberated from all consequences, while those who cook for selfish purposes are eating or enjoying sinful substances. Why is that so? Because whatever we eat, we need to kill, basically. Now, apart from the flesh of the fruit and the leaves, which is the yogi diet, and the milk, the excess milk produced by a cow that is happy to give it to us, that is a yogi diet. It's practically fasting, okay? But every time we kill a plant or a seed, even, to eat, and we need to eat grains, because we cannot just subsist with fruit and grass and leaves only without without killing any plant. Okay, so whenever we kill the plants for eating, we are contracting a debt. So in Sanskrit, the word debt is called rina. Each and every human being has 5 main debts, 5 main rinas, of which one of these, these 5, is the debt towards the living beings, the plants and even the microbes that are the insects that are damaged by our mere survival. So that is why we have the Pancha Mahayagyas. That is why the Shastras say that every household has many slaughterhouses. Of course, they're not real slaughterhouses like, where you push all the animals and you kill them and to eat them. That's a different slaughterhouse. But because they want to say that living beings are killed, one of these slaughterhouses is the grinding stone, the grinder. Every time we grind seeds, we are killing the seeds. So we are actually slaughtering the seeds. Every time we are working in the fields, we are pulling the weeds and we are stepping on the insects. This is why the Jains don't do agriculture, because they don't want to kill anyone. They don't want to damage anyone. But that is excessive, because you have to damage. The minimum damage must be done. We cannot just all starve to death so that we don't damage any other being. Just the fact that we breathe and our antibodies are killing the microbes is a kind of slaughtering beings for our survival. So what we do, we are expected to do the Pancha Mahayagyas, in which we give back to the universal community some service in return, in payment of our debt. So this is why we give food to animals. We try not to kill animals deliberately. We do some service to the animals as well. So this is when we perform our religious duties, our yagya. By performing the yagya, we are giving back to the universal community. So we are paying back. We are paying what we consume. We work, so we have the right to get our maintenance. Like the Upanishad say, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kilcha Jagatam Jagat Tena Taktena Bhunjita. What was that? My memory is going. Anyway, so we each have our share. So if we eat our share and we pay for it by working honestly, humbly, sincerely for the benefit of the entire universal community, we don't make any bad karma. Because karma is a matter of, back balance. So we take some and we give some. So our balance is okay. But if we just take without giving, our balance goes down. So we make debts. If we don't pay debts, that's a bad karma that's going to come back to us. So you see how it works. Does that clarify the point?
Yeah.
Perfect. Any questions here?
Mhm. Nothing as such.
Okay. This doesn't mean that you have to do a lot of ceremonies and rituals to offer your food in the temple on the altar and everything. Okay. It's not really necessary. It's not required. The important thing is the consciousness. It's not the mechanical action. You can offer your food to God, to the Viratrupa, by appreciating the food and by working sincerely, doing your work sincerely. That is already good enough. Then we remember probably in the Saundarya Lahari, Adi Shankar, let me see. Yeah.
Jai Jagannath, you were like you're not audible for last maybe 30 seconds.
Okay, so
Can you repeat
you
what
went and came back. Okay, no problem. Okay, so yeah, what I was saying is that there is this verse doesn't mean that we must follow some specific external rituals to offer our food through the yagya. We don't need to do specific ceremonies and put the food on the altar or near the yagya pit or whatever. It's just sufficient that we have the proper consciousness, proper awareness. Also, I was mentioning the Saundarya Lahari. Adi Shankar was writing very beautiful verses and saying, let each morsel of food that I eat be a ahuti, a sacrificial offering into the fire of God. And in the same way, it is in the Dhamma Mahatmya, it is said that even if we eat regular ordinary food in the Dham, that is like taking prasad. So it's a matter of consciousness, not of rituals. Okay, so let's go on. 14. All creatures come to being thanks to food grains, and food grains come into being thanks to rain. Rain comes thanks to the performance of sacrifice, and sacrifice comes to being through work. Means it's based on work, action, karma, good karma, positive karma, dutiful action. It is important that here Annam indicates specifically food grains, seeds. This is why during Ekadashi and the other fasting days we don't eat seeds. We don't eat grains because this is the basic food for human beings, especially. Just forget the keto diet. But it requires some killing of the seeds. But to bring to make the grains grow, we need rain. And rain is coming through the function of Indra as the ontological principle of kingship. But we need to serve the king. We need to work for the king. So, the principle, we can work through the principle of Indra, and through our good work the rains will come. When the government is bad, the climate goes to pot. And good morning, this is exactly where we are today. In ancient times, when there was some climate disturbance, the king had to do the needful to make the rain come and to put the climate back on track. It was not the responsibility of the projects. It was the responsibility of the kings. This is the origin, for example, of the Ratha Yatra. The Ratha Yatra has its origins in the Indra Yatra. The Indra Yatra is specifically conceived, planned to bring the rain, to bring the proper climate and proper atmospheric precipitations in the proper time and everything. I think you didn't hear about the Indra Yatra.
No.
There is. Okay, maybe I will a video about the Indra Yatra. Indra Yatra is still going on, I think, in Nepal, and it is the precursor of the Ratha Yatra. And in fact, when Adi Shankara went, re-established the worship of Jagannath that had been totally forgotten for centuries, if not for thousands of years, Adi Shankara went to Jajpur and together with Maharaj Yayati Keshari, they found very old deities of Jagannath buried under the banyan tree, but because they were very damaged, they went where to find, they went to Nepal. And in fact, still today, the king of Nepal is supposed to be the brother of the king of Puri and share the same position in the Niyogas as the Adi Karta, Adi Sevaka, in the temple of Jagannath in Puri. So the Indra Yatra was to bring rain in the proper time, in the proper quantity. Did you hear about Risha Shringa?
Yes, like who performed yagya for Bhakti.
Exactly. This is often found as a painting, Patachitra, in the houses of people in Puri who know the story. Of course, not everybody knows the stories in Puri. Most people are just, slightly above the Lokika Shraddha level. But some people know the story of Risha Shringa is exactly like that, because in those times there was a big drought, a big famine, because the grains were not growing. People were actually having problems. So the king was told that he needed Risha Shringa to come and perform the yagya, and they brought Risha Shringa there, and then the rain came. So it was the responsibility of the king. So all creatures come to being thanks to food grain, otherwise they die. And food grains come into being thanks to rain. Rain comes from thanks to the performance of sacrifice. And sacrifice comes to being through work, through the action, through not just a little bit of ritualistic ceremony, but serious work. Because another interesting thing that we need people to understand is that you cannot perform a puja or yagya or whatever type of religious activity by using resources that you have stolen. Like some people, I remember, they were stealing flowers from gardens. Even when I was there, and poor people are stealing like anything. They steal flowers from the gardens and then they take those flowers to the temple. Who's getting the benefit? They're not getting the benefit of the flower offering. It is the owner of the flowers, the karta of the ritual. So they're actually giving benefit to the person who grew the flowers, whose garden produced the flowers. But people are, they're ignorant. They think they're being very clever. They don't need to do any work. They're just going to steal the flowers and, bribe God into giving them special blessings. And the same thing. People go to make big offerings to temples when they feel guilty because they acquired wealth through non-ethical, ways. In short, they stole the wealth. But that is not going to give them any benefit. So the yagya, sacrifice, comes to being through work, honest work. Many people will be shocked. Okay. And 15. Know that work comes from Brahma. Brahma means the Prajapati. Brahma. And Brahma comes from the imperishable, from Brahman. Therefore, the all-pervading Brahman eternally resides in sacred action. So, Yagya is a name of Brahman, because sacred action is Brahman, sacred action is Vishnu. And 16. Osana Prita, one who does not accept to follow this established cycle of action, is enjoying his senses through a sinful longevity, and his life is useless, which is not a very good position.
One question on that previous verse of Brahman.
Yeah.
So, Brahman anyways resides everywhere, right? So, what is it is trying to say in this specific that Brahma resides?
Brahman resides everywhere, is present everywhere, but not in the same concentration. It's like water. Water is everywhere, but it manifests more in the ocean, in the rivers, in your you have water in your body, but that's not enough. There is water in the air, but it's not enough. So, Brahman is both present inside and outside all beings, but not in the same manifested manner. It's a degree of manifestation. Even in the avatars, you may have read in the Bhakti Shastra that not all the avatars have the same percentage of kala. Ete chamsa kala pumsa. Amsa and kala, it's not a material. It's not a material calculation, but still, it's a calculation. Brahman is present everywhere, but it manifests more in some situations than others. Because otherwise, why should we read the Shastra and not read the Mickey Mouse journal? Brahman is in Mickey Mouse as well. Because that is a paper, that is, everything is there. Why we worship the deity in the temple and not the the garbage in the street, because Brahman is also in the garbage in the street. So but it manifests in a different way. The deity in the temple is manifesting more powerfully. Of course, Brahman is everywhere, but you cannot get it from exactly the same way from everywhere. You see the difference?
Yes. Okay.
This is answering your question. Any other elaboration?
Okay.
No. Okay. Okay. So we are here in verse 17. I think that, okay, we can read the 17 and then we can call it a day. 17. A human being who loves the self certainly becomes satisfied in the self and peaceful within the self. For such a person, there is no need to perform any action. You see, we come back to the point of consciousness. It's not a specific action that is going to give us the results. It's the consciousness by which we perform the action. So every action can become, like Adi Shankar said, every gesture, let it become a mudra. Every morsel of food, let it become the ahuti in the havana. Every step I take, let it become a parikrama, pradakshina. So every time I lay down, let it become how you call it?
Dandavat.
Dandavat pranam, exactly. So it's not that you need to do special ceremonies or special rituals. You just need to have the proper consciousness and put it into every action. Like Krishna says, Yad karoshi yadasnasi yajuhosi dadasiya. Do it for me. Do it for me. Do it as a sacred action, as a sacrifice to me. It doesn't say whatever you eat, put it on a plate that has to be, 7 preparations and this and that, and you have to go and do all the nyaya, anga nyaya, kara nyaya, and this and that, and then you have to ring the bell. No, it said, whatever you eat, do it for me. This is important because it saves us, prevents us from becoming egomaniacs. That is exactly the opposite of what we are supposed to do. We need to give up the ego, the ahankara and mamata. Okay, so I believe we have completed 1 hour. And
one question here. Like here in this verse, self refers to Atman only, right?
Yeah, but the Atman is Brahman. The Atman is Paramatman. It's not self.
But like because of what you say, since in material education we don't have concept of Atman. Whenever we see self, it indirectly we see selfish attitude and all those negative connotations comes in.
Exactly.
So loves the self, we can think loves the self who's selfish and then.
Exactly. This is the problem. The problem is due to tamas. People present adharma as dharma. So as long as the people think that the self is the body, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. We need to understand what the Atman means. Because self, it's that's why I put it with the, capital letters, self. Because the real self, the self of the self, is a Paramatma. So the real self is not the body identification. This is, it's true. You're totally right. People are confused. People can get very easily confused. That's why we need to, work seriously about it. Because if we don't, bring back the proper understanding, we re-establish dharma. Paritranaya sajanam vinashaya chadushkitam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge. If we don't do this dharma samstapanarthaya, re-establishing the dharma samstapanarthaya, we are going to have to suffer globally, not just India. So a lot of work to do. We are trying to do our best, that give the result to God. Yeah, a lot of work. Okay, does that answer your question? Hopefully. Hopefully. We do. We do our best. Okay then. Anything else, or we close here?
No, that's it.
We can continue next time from verse 17. I'll let you go and have your dinner.
Yeah. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Jai Jagannath, Radhe Radhe.
Okay.